Hey, good morning, everyone. This is the Pantry Pastor, and we're doing a quick video here. I actually titled it The Top 10 Health, Fasting, Weight Loss Tips. Now, this came from questions that came in from the recent Health Expo I just did. I'm going to actually post a link to the Health Expo in the description box, so you can watch that. I'm also on daddy duty right now, so I've got my 3-month-old taking a nap. So let's see if she wakes up. Anyway, I'm going to try to answer some of the questions that came in. Granted, I'm going to go quickly, and I know that sometimes doesn't do us justice. And I'm also going to include a book, Feasting and Fasting. It's a free download at our website. So I'm going to include that in the description as well. So let's go with question number 1 that came in. Can I clarify carbs and the keto diet? Well, I might do a short video on that, so stay tuned for that. But if I don't, keto or carbs? What does the Bible say, or how were we created? In a nutshell, I believe, and I guess this is my opinion, just studying complex carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates, the uptake of ATP energy, how the body assimilates it, how it converts it to glucose, how the energy is used by the body, the process of gluconeogenesis, converting certain things into glucose for fuel, our fat, storage, and ketone and ketone bodies. My thought is that the body was primarily designed to consume carbohydrates, good, healthy, complex carbohydrates. Think potatoes, yams. Oh, you can hear she's talking. Potatoes, yams, good complex carbohydrates. And then that glucose is stored in the muscle and liver for future use. And once that's depleted, we are designed to go in our fat reserves. However, with a sedentary lifestyle of many people, meaning we just don't move, I'm a fan of the ketogenic diet, and I do it from time to time. I'm actually doing it today. I might get 100 grams in of carbohydrates total. Now, net carbohydrates, that's after you minus out the fiber of those. I'm probably at 60 grams or so today. And I feel good. Fat's a good fuel source, but I truly believe that carbohydrates are our chief source of energy. So I would move more. And there's so much health benefits in beans. Just Google the health benefits of beans. And just kind of leery of those who just stay away completely from carbohydrates, your fiber intake, your enzymes, your microbiota. There's so many beneficial things to carbohydrates. But again, unprocessed in their right forms and not in abundance, but in moderation. Our chief food should be tons of plants, salads, and different things. So next question, I'll have to put this down or not put down, but just look down for a minute. Shake recipes. People ask me about my shake recipes. I keep it simple. I try to make almond milk. If I don't, I get raw goat or raw cow's milk. If possible, pasteurization kills the entire process it kills the enzymes, the vitamins, and minerals. So Google it. Look at Weston A. Price. Look at his research on raw. Look at Dr. Axe. But of course, it's expensive. I can't get raw that much. So I just opt for almond milk. Try to get clean almond milk, and I mix it with, what I mean by that is no artificial flavor, sugar, oils, maybe some emulsifiers, are in there. I have to explain that at a later date. So I take a banana, maybe some cacao, and some plant-based protein powder with a banana with the almond milk, about 400 calories. Maybe add a little fat in there, coconut oil, and there you go. That's very satisfying. On that note, that's why many people get or have sugar cravings later in the evening, is because they're not getting in enough nutrients. And for me, that shake really takes away those cravings. I don't have to have my chocolate. Now, also, I talked about this in the video, the long video you can watch in the description, but caffeine, how caffeine in coffee especially plays a huge role in sugar cravings later in the day, as does alcohol. Alcohol, sugar, caffeine, those are all kind of related there. So next question, lectins. Oh, what's the hype with the lectins? In a nutshell, lectin is a protein found in protein found in plants. And what they're finding is that the lectins kind of disrupt the gastrointestinal system in some people. My thought is, if God created it and it's in a natural state, I don't worry about lectins in some vegetables. I get unprocessed, make sure it's not GMO. Have they done these studies on clean plants, or is it just on GMO, genetically modified plants? I don't know, something to think about. So I don't worry too much about lectins. Let me switch this over a little bit. The next question, peanut butter. Well, in the fasting book, I have a link to articles on peanut butter. You got to be careful. Almond butter is a much better choice. You want to get organic. Unfortunately, almonds, even in California, are pasteurized, if you can believe that. Apparently, almonds made somebody sick and now they have to pasteurize them. There's often a chemical process to that, so you want to try to find someone, a farmer or a store that carries maybe them out of California, order them online. That's what I do. However, I don't lose sleep over this. I eat almonds from California. Sometimes I have pasteurized milk. Sometimes I have a chocolate bar or fast food, not fast food too often, but you don't get too crazy, you don't get carried away, but you make it a lifestyle, and that's how you stay in shape. So next question, to answer your question, be careful on the peanut butter. There's a lot to that. I can't get into a lot of that, but you can research it online. If you get peanut butter, get organic peanut butter and use it in moderation. And what I do is I mix the peanut butter with almond butter, and I try to trick my kids there, and they eventually get used to it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. The next question. I hear you. Yes. Hold on just a minute. Cardiovascular training. Cardiovascular training versus muscle conditioning training. I do both. I like to get cardio in. Cardio is good for the heart, the cardiovascular system, keeping that heart rate up. But muscle training is good for the muscles. And I don't worry too much about it. I might do squats. I might do curls. I might do bench press. It is hard. It's a little humiliating coming from a guy who used to go into the gym and warm up with 315 pounds. And at my height, I did over 400 pounds bench pressing and putting a pathetic amount of weight on the bar now. But I'm all for health and not necessarily the strength. So I do muscle training. What muscle training is when your muscle is broken down in such a way that it's not used to, it adapts, it forms, it shapens to conform to that next tension that it's going to face. So muscle resistance training is important, but also cardiovascular training. What I do is I keep it easy. Some days I might ride bikes with my kids for an hour. Sometimes I'll work out in the garage. When I have time, it's kind of hard to find that time. So I have to go 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, miss this day, the next day. I'm just real sporadic and trying to make it fit within my schedule. Next question. Fasting. People feel like they're going to faint when they fast. Yes, that is normal. I didn't fast for many years, almost a decade, because I thought I was hypoglycemic. Come to find out, I was actually addicted to sugar. So fasting, baby steps. Start with maybe no breakfast. You start to feel a little lightheaded. Have a little bit of juice or something, unpasteurized juice, maybe juice your own. And then work into it. Maybe it took me some time. You work into fasting, you get your body ready. The best way to get ready for fasting is to get off of unprocessed foods, begin intermittent fasting. You can look into that. Also, cut out sugar, the refined sugars and all the garbage. I'm not too concerned about Manuka honey or good sugar, maybe a little bit of maple syrup, but get rid of the processed foods, the sugar, and get off of your addictions, whether it's caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, opiates, whatever it is. You got to get rid of that addiction. So when you go into fasting, your body is already in a very clean, well, not a very clean state. We're toxic, but it's in a good state. So fasting is difficult. I understand that, but you can position yourself in such a way where it becomes much easier because it's just about cleansing and not detox, withdrawing from substances. So it's good to get your body cleaned first. Dr. Daniel Pompa has a lot of good stuff online, a friend of mine. He can help you through this fat adaptation, the fasting diet, getting ready for fasting mimicking diet. But again, personally, I don't get real caught up in all this. I just work out, I try to eat healthy, I fast, and I just trust God, and I don't want to get too caught up in this. So that would be my encouragement. What about burning muscle when fasting? Yes, I hear you. I'll be right there. Burning muscle when fasting. We'll call this a baby video. Yes, fasting though, your body actually goes into protein sparing mode, meaning that you're so well designed. We did not evolve. We were created by a creator, God. And our body goes into protein sparing mode. What that means is, as you're fasting, your body is so smart that it begins to conserve the muscle. Once the glycogen, the glucose is burned through the liver and through the muscle, and that's why you'll look at a lot of people, they look flat, when they're fasting, or no carbohydrates. But when they would call it carb loading, they would load up on carbs again. Then the muscle bellies become hard again, and they have that fullness in their muscle because the muscle is full of glucose and carbohydrates. So once that depleted, once your muscle is being reserved for not being used as fuel, then your body goes into ketones, or goes to get into ketone bodies, ketosis, and it begins to burn fat as fuel. So I don't think anyone knows the exact measurements of how much fat, how much muscle. Yes, you will lose a little bit of muscle, but believe it or not, 6 days into a water fast, 7 days, I had the best workout of my life. 3 days into one, or 4 days into one, I went jogging. It's the longest I've ever jogged. Our body's amazing. So yes, you will lose a little bit of muscle, but I don't worry about that, because the benefits of fasting far outweigh the little bit of muscle loss. And actually, you will recoup that muscle once you begin eating again. And when you start eating again, please eat healthy and eat slowly and reintroduce food. My book, Feasting and Fasting, goes into this. That's why it's a free download. We want to help people in this area. Let's see. Dealing with emotions when fasting, well, that would take a whole video. Again, I talk about that in the book. You have to expect the ups and the downs. I would be in vacation, take time off of work. Maybe it's a time when your kids are gone for the weekend, and you just rest and you fast. But you got to plan it, because the emotional highs and lows, and it's part of the detox process. What diet is best? That came in. I've talked many times about this before. I will say it again. Do what works best for you. Don't let anyone try to get you on a ketogenic diet. Don't let somebody try to get you on a plant-based diet. Figure out what works best for you. Here's what you need to figure out. What is healthy? What is God-given? I want God-given food in their natural state. So you have people in Alaska, Eskimos that look great in their 90s. They're eating fish and fat and meat. Not a lot of vegetables. You see other people eating just vegetables. And so if you can get the nutrient value of a clean meat, a clean dairy, personally, I have about 85%, 80% plant and a little bit of dairy, a little bit of meat. If I go that direction, sometimes I take off meat and dairy for a few days and find out what works best for you, something you can stick with it. And it becomes a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle, not a diet. So let me see if I can understand the last question that came in. Refine the top nutrients, like oil. What process means, basically. Process means all the good stuff has been taken away, and all you're left with is white flour or white sugar. It's very hard on the body. Think about this. Cane sugar comes from the cane plant, right? If you take a big, thick, 1 foot long section of a cane plant and you eat that, you're eating maybe, I don't want to get exact here, but you're eating a little bit of sugar, maybe a teaspoon of sugar in that whole plant. So, and these people have no cavities. So the problem is processed, refined, where you're eating 50 tablespoons of sugar a day. I think that the national average is up to 80 teaspoons a day. Folks, we got to take our health back. We got to take the health back of our kids. Again, this is a pantry pastor signing off with this thought. It's not how often you fall, it's how often you get back up when you do fall. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. What direction are you going? Get back up and fall forward. Begin to make right choices 80% of the time. I'll be honest with you, I try to make right choices 100% of the time. But I know that's not going to happen. I know there's compromises here. I want treats with the kids, but I feel a lot better, especially since I got off coffee. You can watch the video in my videos under caffeine and coffee. And I got off coffee. I've talked to this week 3 people that have been off coffee. I hear you. I'm almost done. 3 people that have been off coffee this week alone, and they feel tremendous. Much more energy, but it is hard. It takes time. But get off these addictions. Start eating healthy food. You'll feel better. We can invest into our lives of our children. We don't have to sit at a TV and watch Walking Dead or zombies all day long and feel like a zombie. So take back your health. Don't rely on the medical industry. Don't rely on doctors. Don't rely on diets. You take it back. Eat God-given food in the right amounts. Don't eat less often. Get out, move, and incorporate fasting into your program. Until next time, I hope that helps.